Hey guys, it's Keegan. Welcome to your latest reading with me. I wanted to talk to you guys for just a moment at the beginning about a couple of things. First thing is that during the month of May, I'm going to be doing weekly readings. And so this is the first round of 4 that you'll get from me during the month of May. I'm going to be taking a look at different things each week, and I'm inviting you to leave me suggestions or requests in the comments of these videos, letting me know what you would like for me to do for the second, third, and fourth weeks of this month. To kick things off in May, I decided to take a look at what is blocking you and take a look at energetically what's blocking you, use tarot to get more insight into that. And then beyond that, for the second, third, and fourth weeks, I'm really open to suggestions and requests from you guys. So please do let me know what you'd like to see me do. Before we move into the reading, I also want to let you know that I have a website now. I'm super excited to let you guys know this. It's keagankirk.com. I'll put all the information about the website below in the description box so you can check that out. And it's very exciting to me to have this officially launched. It's something that I've been working on for several months now. You can go there, keagankirk.com right now. I have created a special gift for you guys that you can get just by signing up on the website. And then when you scroll right below that, you will see a section where you can book personal readings with me. This has been by far one of the biggest requests that I've gotten from people, is to make the process of booking personal readings with me easier. And that is now possible. If you go to my website, you can select the type of tarot reading that you want with me. There are 3 types there. You can do a 30-minute or a 60-minute recorded session, which means I pre-record that on my own and send you the link. And I'm offering something that is pretty new, which is a live one-on-one session with me, which is 60 minutes. That means that you and I have a set date and time where we will connect live one-on-one. You can ask me questions as we're going through the reading. You can ask me to clarify specific things. You are much more in control of that reading in terms of where it goes, what we focus on, and all of that is available on the website. Again, I'm super excited about that, and I just wanted to share with you the excitement and share you some imagery of the website here at the beginning of the videos before diving into the actual reading. I will be sharing a special code at some point during the reading that will give you 30% off during the month of May for personal reading. So be sure that you watch the video through so that you can get that discount code. And again, thank you so much just for all the support, all the views, everything that you guys have done, all the positive feedback and comments, emails checking in on me and things, you know. I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate you and how much I'm looking forward to growing this channel and this community with you. And please do take a moment to check out the website and let me know what you think. Okay, let's move into your reading. All right, Leo, as you can see, I've already pulled 3 cards out. I am doing the first part of this reading as much more of an intuitive, channeled sort of tarot reading. So these preliminary cards that you see in front of me, I'll be using them to give me prompts. I'll be looking at the visuals on the card, also just tuning into the energy of the card, listening to my own spirit guides about messages they're trying to convey, about why these cards are here. Then we have a tarot deck that we'll use for a more traditional style, getting a little bit more clarity about what's going on with the energy, and then a parting advice or guidance card from the Universe Has My Back Oracle deck. So, Leo, a full disclosure here about this. I started recording this. Everything was going fine. I got all the way through to the point where I had pulled tarot cards for you and happened to just feel like I needed to take a look to make sure everything was still going well, and noticed that it was no longer being recorded. And the file, when I tried to play it, was corrupted. And so even the beginning part of what I talked to you guys about, I couldn't salvage that. So this is actually the second time that I'm doing this. But in the spirit of being fully transparent about that, I wanted to let you guys know what cards I did pull when I pulled tarot cards earlier. So the first card out was the 8 of Wands, and that was upright. In the middle, you had the Chariot reversed. And the third card that I pulled for you was the 9 of Coins, which was also upright. And so if you want to investigate those cards on your own to maybe give you even more insight than what I'm going to cover in this reading, or if you're a fellow reader who knows what those cards mean, then I just want to let you guys know what came out the first time. Now, some of those cards might come out again. We might get 3 completely different cards, but I wanted to mention them up front just so you would know. So again, 8 of Wands, upright, Chariot reversed, and the 9 of Coins, which was upright. So With that being said, I want to go back and talk to you guys about what I've already talked to you about. So for some people, some of the signs, I've actually felt like each of the cards represented individual blocks for them. For others, I felt like the cards were telling me one collective story of a block. For you guys, I feel like there's really two things that are going on here. Now in the middle, you have this card, and I don't really care for what this card is called. The card in this deck is called Schizophrenia, but this is similar to, this is not similar, but it is equal to like the Two of Swords energy in a traditional tarot deck. What's happening here for you, Leo, is I feel like you're kind of defaulting between two settings, right? So on this side, you have going with the flow. On this side, you have fighting. And I'm going to talk to you guys about what's going on energetically on both of those and what I'm sensing. But I wanted to start with the card here in the middle because I really do feel like the biggest block is that you need to default more so to one way right now. And because you're kind of going back and forth between the two, what this feels like to me is, you know, I never quite know how this saying goes because I'm not sure if you're supposed to be making progress or just setting yourself back. But it's that saying about like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, or 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, however it goes. What this feels like to me is almost like 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, right? So it's not even that you're stuck because you're able to move, right? You're able to take the 2 steps forward, but then something happens and you end up going back, you regress. And I just feel like the energy, if I'm looking at the energy and tuning into the energy and trying to see what's going on here, it almost really does feel like it's like a seesaw to me. Right? I just feel energy like go on this side and then come back on this side. Ideally, I think where we would have the best success with this is if you were able to kind of keep things balanced, okay? And so I want to talk to you about what going with the flow means, what the fighting card means. There was a personal story that I shared with you that I still think is important that I'll share that with you as well. And then we'll pull some fresh tarot and see what comes through on that, okay? So what does it mean to go with the flow? So going with the flow doesn't mean that you are shirking all responsibility, throwing caution to the wind, saying whatever happens, happens, I don't care. That's not what it means, okay? Going with the flow is really about having established enough trust with the universe that you're able to just move through your life and be aware of when you're given signals, be aware of when you're being nudged in a particular direction, being able to tune into your own feelings and emotions and make a decision about how you feel about something, and then being able to ask your spirit guides, your higher self, the universe, give me some insight, give me clues, give me signals, and knowing how to actually interpret those so that you feel like you're moving through life constantly allowing yourself to be nudged and adjusted and pointed in a different direction. And the lack of questioning about that, Leo, is not necessarily that you don't care. It's that you know that your intuition, that you're so tuned in and plugged in to your intuition and the guidance that comes through with you, that it's almost second nature, okay? And so I shared a personal story about this that I'm going to share again because I think it illustrates what I'm talking about better than I can just kind of talk about it theoretically. So a couple of months back, I was presented with a possibility. And this possibility would mean that I would relocate to another part of the country. And there are pros, lots of big pros to this potential opportunity because it would be, you know, a place that I've never lived before. It would give me the opportunity to, you know, actually really save a lot of money, but be in a very different living environment, a very different, you know, location. This would be a newly built construction that would be on coastal Maine. Literally, you walk out to the front yard and there's just this beautiful ocean view. And, you know, it was one of those things where I was like, okay, this is a random opportunity. How do I feel about this? Do I want to move right now? Am I open to moving? Do I want to be in kind of a remote coastal town? Like, what do I feel about this? And for me, when I tuned in, I just felt like I didn't have any warnings. There were no bells going off, no red flags that I could envision. There was nothing that was really saying, don't proceed. So then I asked the universe, okay, everyone that's included in the universe, my higher self, my spirit guides, my angels, my ancestors, my protectors, source itself, is this something that you support? What weigh in? Give me a signal. So later that night, I went to YouTube and I put in the name of the town in Maine because I wanted to see if there were just any videos. It's like I said, I've never been there, I've never visited, I've never seen it, I've never been to Maine. I wanted to just get a feel for what it was like. And the very first video that I was shown on YouTube was actually a video of the person that sold the land, that the house that I might be staying in for several months is being built on. And the person in the video was the person that sold the land to the person who's building the house. And that's what I mean when I say going with the flow. I was presented with something, I pondered it, I made a decision that I was kind of open and receptive if it was something that was supportive, something that was ultimately for my good. I can't necessarily take a look and see all of the potential things that might happen as a result of me moving from one place to the next, but my spirit guides can. My higher self has access to that. So for me to be shown a video of the exact land, the exact place that was being presented to me as a possibility was a very strong signal for me that the universe was supportive. If ultimately everything aligns, if everyone agrees that this is a good decision to make, then it's supported by the universe. Now, it doesn't mean that I have to do that because I have free will. I might ultimately decide not to do it. Other people involved in this might decide it's not the best thing for them. There are lots of things that can go wrong, right? But if those things do go wrong or if those things change, then I know that this opportunity simply wasn't for me. It wasn't mine. It could have worked out. I could have been happy. But clearly the universe has something else in store, or my own higher self wants a different path. There's something that I'm just not aware of. And so even though that might be a little disappointing, I'm not going to allow that to mean that I've lost something. If something doesn't manifest for me, then it's not mine. And I try to live my life that way as much as I possibly can. That's what going with the flow is really all about. It's about trusting that you've built enough of a connection with the universe and with yourself that you can just kind of be led through life towards things that are for your good. Now, you can't live that way if you haven't done a lot of spiritual work, because if you just say, okay, you know what, I'm just going to trust I'm being led, but inside you have feelings of your self-worth is something that you question. You don't believe that you deserve good things. You believe that the world is a cold, cruel place full of evil people seeking to do harm to you. And you just sort of say, okay, you know what, just take me wherever. Your energy, your intention is going to direct you towards bad experiences, right? So you can't go with the flow if you have things that you need to actually deal with. And let's talk about on the other side here with this fighting card. You know, the fighting card really is about being in a place where you've kind of built walls around yourself. You've put on, if you look at this illustration of this, right, this person is covered head to toe in armor, spiky armor at that. They're very defensive. They have their fist clenched. They're looking out as if there's a threat. You can see energetically what I'm saying, right? Very different energy on this side. Right? This person, I don't know if I showed you this illustration, right? But think about this, right? Over here is going with the flow, over here is fighting. You can't go with the flow if you're fighting against the current, right? Like you just can't do it. One of the things that I think too that I'm picking up with the fighting card that I just want to say is I feel like you're coming out of a period of time, and I would say this is anywhere from like a year to 2 years of your life, where you've really felt like your back has been against the wall. You've really felt like it almost feels like your main drive, your main instinct was to protect yourself or keep yourself safe. And, if I try to like tune into that, I think lots of you have different interpretations of that. For some of you, it was like you could have been in an actual unsafe environment and you were actually trying to keep yourself physically safe. For others of you, you could have been in, very extreme financial distress and you were just trying to maintain your stability in that sense. Some of you could have had health issues where literally your life was at risk and you had to fight your way back from that. But it felt like for the past year or two, your energy has mostly been spent on making sure that you survive. And sometimes that is where we're at in life, right? We have to fight, we have to fight, we have to fight. But there's been something recently, and again, I would say maybe in the past like 1 to 3 months, uh, for you, Leo, where things have started to shift, things have started to change, and you no longer feel as much like your back is against the wall or that you're having to kind of fight to survive. Things have felt relatively stable. And now that you're in that space, what's best for you, and the thing that is kind of like the block, is you have to switch that part of your mind off a little, right? The part of your mind that really has to like make sure that you're safe, make sure that you're able to survive, make sure that you're able to endure, make sure that you're able to, continue to see the next day. That part of you no longer needs to be the one that's really the most in control. Part of you that needs to step forward is the part of you that really trusts, the part of you that is very open, the part of you that is, willing to kind of lean more into your intuition than you have been for the past couple of years. Now, I want to say it doesn't mean that if you are in situations where, like the ones that I listed, right, like your actual living environment is not safe, or your health is being compromised, or you have financial issues, whatever it is, in those situations, you can still do this. In those situations, you can still rely on your intuition, but only if your mindset is not one of fear, right? Sometimes we find ourselves in situations where, I'll use the money example, right? Sometimes money is taken from us in order to help us learn a bigger lesson, right? So we might have become complacent in our lives and the money that we have, and we're not pushing ourselves anymore, and there's something that we need to go after, right? There's a shift that we need to make, or something that we need to create in the world, and we're not moving towards that because we've kind of gotten too comfortable with being able to have whatever it is that we want. And so sometimes the universe will take a little bit to make us get uneasy, so that we'll be willing to shift and change and move from where we've grown roots. Sometimes there are other issues that we might have around money. We might have issues with, fearing failure or fearing success. And those are things that we have to heal. And sometimes, the flow of money in and out will be adjusted in a way by the universe that makes us feel uncomfortable, so that we'll start to investigate our relationship with money, right? So you have to be able to look at it and say, I'm not being attacked. I'm not being punished. There's nothing that I need to defend myself against. There's a lesson here I need to figure out. What is that lesson? Help guide me towards learning this in the fastest, most graceful way possible, right? So I want to see you guys moving more and more towards going with the flow, and that's not necessarily something that is always easy to do. I still struggle with it with several things. Most people still struggle with being able to really be in that place of really trusting in the universe. It's an ongoing sort of dynamic that exists between you and the universe itself. But the more that you do it, the more that you do trust, and the more that you see that things work out, usually things tend to work out better than what you were hoping they would. You were presented with something that was not something you had pondered, not something you had considered. Then that trust that you have in your connection with the universe, the trust that you have in your own intuition, the trust that you have in your own ability to manifest when you need to manifest, it starts to increase. And the more you trust it, the more you rely on it. And it starts to become something that you do without necessarily having to remind yourself to do it. It just becomes part of how you think, part of how you evaluate situations. Okay? So Leo, hopefully that makes sense to you in terms of the energy. I think I actually maybe described that more succinctly and better the second time. I'm curious to see what cards are going to come out for you guys from this deck, though. So give me 1 second. I'm going to shuffle this a couple of times, just to show you I'm mixing them up. I'm also going to go through, feel my way through, and just turn the cards that want to turn. Okay. 2 more shuffles. I'm going to do the top card, bottom card. And then we'll do a cut. Wait. There we go. There's your third card. So let's flip these over and see what we got. We have the King of Pentacles. We have the Knight of Wands reversed. And then the Death card. So different cards than you had in the first round. But let's talk about these. It's interesting to me, you know, there's a similar, in a way, there's a similar energy coming through here because, you know, I mentioned you had the Nine of Pentacles, which was upright in that other reading. King of Pentacles coming out here, being upright, it's similar to me in a way because this really does feel like being in a place where, you know, you're creating a life that's pretty abundant. You're creating a life that is, it's what you want. It's a life where you feel that things are solid. You feel that when you look at things that you've attempted, when you look at things that you've taken risk on, when you look at areas where you've trusted your gut, you look around and you realize that it was good, right? That it was successful. You realize that you've built something that is stable in your life. Whatever stable feels to you, however stable feels to you, whatever it is that word means to you. It's being in that place where you look around and you realize that you've had the wisdom to be able to make good decisions. Because to be quite honest with you, I think maybe in the past you've made a lot of bad decisions. You've made a lot of decisions that didn't necessarily work out in the best way. You've made a lot of decisions that, and I'm talking about the Knight of Wands here, kind of next to this King. They're kind of playing off of each other. You know, if you look, you can see they're looking at each other. But with this Knight of Wands, when the Knight of Wands is reversed, it's places where, you know, we don't rely on our wisdom and the things that are coming through. We don't really take the time to weigh the options, look at things, ask, you know, for advice and guidance from the universe, really check in with ourselves. We're not making decisions in that way. The Knight of Wands reverse is a very impulsive, you know, impatient sort of energy. It doesn't want to take the time to think things through. It doesn't want to take the time to really ponder. It just wants to, you know, make that decision and see what happens and suffer the consequences. And I almost feel like what's happening here for me as I'm looking at the energy is I think that you've felt for a long time, Leo, that energy, kind of that impulsive, impatient, you know, going with kind of just like what feels right or what feels good is going with the flow. But going with the flow and being in the flow are two very different things. And I think that this card would be better served if it was called actually like in the flow or trusting the flow or something like that, right? You're at a place where you can really level up. Going from the Knight of Wands reversed to the King of Pentacles upright would be a big shift, but it's possible. But you have to be able to lean more and more into trusting the relationship that you're building. Right? In tuning into the energy, I feel like you're building this connection. And it's kind of like you trust it a little bit and then you don't. And you trust a little bit and then you don't. Or you trust it, but then something comes in that seems like it's out of left field and you're like, that's too wacky. I'm not going to. And so you cut that connection. You have to work on trusting it. Something's presented and you're like, really? I mean, like for me, it's like, really? Move to the middle of nowhere in Maine? Really? Why is that being presented? There's a reason, right? So maybe I trust it. Okay, well, I'm not like opposed to it. Give me a sign if it's really something I need to pay attention to. I was given a sign it was something to really pay attention to, something to really consider. Again, it doesn't mean I have to do it, right? So let's talk about this. Last card out here, you have the Death card and it's upright. The Death card is really, you know, it's one of my favorite cards in tarot, and it's not just that because it's the card associated with my sun sign, which is Scorpio, but the Death card is a card that I really love because it is a card that's almost about healthy duality. Okay, so this is about realizing that if you let something go, or if you allow something to come to a close, if you let something end, by default, anytime you make that decision, you're also accepting that there's something new happening. There's a new beginning. There's a new opportunity. There's a new door opening. It's allowing yourself to be in a place where things don't feel like they're taken from you. Things feel like they were removed to make room for something else. The Death card is all about moving on from things that no longer serve you, allowing things to end, allowing things to be let go of that you don't need to hold on to anymore. It's about transformation and rebirth. Okay? And that's really what is key here. You have to allow yourself to really be changed, because there's this energy. You know how I was saying it really, like, I keep seeing like a seesaw sort of thing with the energy. It's, you have to figure out what the things are. What are the traumas? What are the situations? What are the experiences that you've had that make you feel like you need to be defensive, that make you feel like you need to protect yourself, that make you feel like you need to, keep your guard up? Like, what are those things? Those are the things that need to be healed. Because when you heal that initial trauma, then that urge to protect yourself from that happening again, or that desire to keep people out, whatever it is for you, it goes away, because you don't have that wound anymore that you're trying to keep someone from poking, right? It's healed. So if someone comes in and they try to do that, you have the wisdom to say to them, oh, I've already been through that. I'm not repeating that. I've learned that lesson, so move along, right? And that comes from stepping more into that King of Pentacles, realizing that you've gone through a lot, and maybe you haven't made the best decisions. Maybe you've had some things that didn't go as you wanted them to in your life. But if you can lean on the wisdom that you've gained from those experiences, then that's a really big deal. Okay, Leo, let's go ahead and pull an oracle card here for you out of The Universe Has My Back. Is the name of this oracle deck, in case you're interested in it. I'm just going to do a cut. Pull that card out for you. I do just want to talk to you guys really quickly as a reminder. As you saw at the beginning of the video, I have a website now. So if this resonated with you, if you want to explore things more deeply with me one-on-one, a personal reading, you can book readings with me now through my website. It's keaghankirk.com. There's a free gift there for you that you can go. And the code, as promised, to get 30% off of personal readings is to use the code VIEWER. I will also put this in the description box in case you just want to grab it to make sure that it's all spelled right, but it's just the word viewer in all caps. When you finish with the intake form, which is the second step, at the bottom of that, there's a Pay Now button, and right above that, there's a spot where you can put in viewer, and it will deduct the 30% off for you. And I'm just super excited about that website being launched. It makes it so much easier to book with me. There's no more back and forth. If this did make sense to you, please take a moment to leave me a comment. I love hearing from you guys. It makes me feel good to know that these videos eventually find the people that need to hear them. Give the video a thumbs up. That also just lets YouTube know that you liked this, and it helps to show the thumbnail and the video to other people who might need to hear this. And the last thing is, I love it when people subscribe to the channel. It just lets me know that I'm building my own little community, my own space on the internet where people can interact with one another and interact with me. And so please, if you're not subscribed, but you've watched my videos for the past couple of months, just take a moment to click the subscribe button. It makes such a difference in terms of how much the channel is promoted and how the videos perform on the platform. So with that all being said, let's see what's coming through for you. Advice or guidance coming through for you specific to this energy here on this card. The Universe Has My Back. I can't think of a better card to come out. That is actually the name of the deck, as I mentioned, is The Universe Has My Back. But this would be equal to pulling like the Sun card out of the tarot deck. Anytime The Universe Has My Back comes out of this deck, it just means the universe is really, really, really trying to help you, really wanting to show up for you, really wanting you to trust, really wanting you to lean into that relationship. The universe is really trying to support you. Trust in that. The lack of faith in the universe, the lack of faith in your higher self, the lack of faith in your spirit guides, or the lack of the connection being grown and established is really the thing that is getting in your way more so than anything else. So if you can work on that, if you can heal it, if you can spend time really developing that relationship with the universe, then really amazing, powerful things can happen for you in your life. So thank you for hanging out with me. This was actually a really good reading. This has probably been my favorite in terms of like the energy and the play and the cards. So please embrace this. Please embrace this. I'm super excited to see what the universe is trying to give you if you'll just allow yourself to be responsive to it. Okay. Bye, Leo.